freezing my freaking ass off out here. Going on this short hike. Let's talk about self-compassion. So self-compassion is something that's been really the theme that's been popping up at me for the past few months here. And I think it really started popping up into my life because I started becoming more aware of just how hard I am on myself and how critical and judgmental of myself. You know, where it would just literally be anything and everything that I did was never good enough for myself. So like, you know, say if I wanted to do like complete 10 things on my to-do list for the day, and if I did like 9 or even 10 out of 10, you know, I think how I'll feel at the end of it is usually like, it was okay. You know, it's rarely ever a, oh man, like I did so great, I did awesome, pat myself in the back, right? So I think just this like really like harshness on myself really started becoming apparent. And you know, people, my friends in my circle had really they really made me notice this. And you know, I've been talking to like a counselor and everything, and you know, it's just this practice of self-compassion and being gentle with ourselves. Like for me, for example, I've been so conditioned, just it's so normal for me to not be satisfied with my own results and not give me credit where credit is due. There's just like falling snow from the trees, so I'm literally getting attacked, me and Myrrh. And I think one thing that I've noticed was that I just typically like had a very negative attitude towards people and towards the world, and I think a lot of that negativity came from my dissatisfaction with myself, and because of that it started manifesting, you know, outwardly. Or maybe it's like some sort of outlet, right, for me to kind of, you know how like when, you know, you're negative, you like bring people down with you, or I don't know, when haters hate, when they see like other people who are like doing well, they just kind of want to drag them down with them. I don't think it was me trying to like drag people down with me, but I think it was a kind of like an outlet for me to release, because I wasn't happy with myself, and therefore I brought about negative energy into the world. And I think the perfect example of that for me would be whenever I'm driving. It's kind of silly, but I wouldn't say I have road rage, but I typically tend to think, oh, like people are driving so slow, or like, dude, that was such a dumb move, or like just a lot of negative energy whenever I was behind the wheel. Very impatient, very short fused, so to speak. And that really got me thinking, like, does it really matter that much how shitty or good someone is driving on the road? You know, at least to the extent, to the frequency that I was complaining. Like, is it really that important? And I would say like, no, it's not that important. So the question became like, why? Like, why was I so like pissed off or like displeased all of the time? And you know, I think it was really because of my dissatisfaction towards myself and my lack of you know, self-compassion. The language that I used with myself wasn't positive, So the language I used towards the outer world wasn't positive as well. And I think another area that I've really been noticing where I lack self-compassion is when it comes to work and productivity. So I'm someone who likes to put a lot on my plate and be like productive, right? Make use of my time. And that's what I try to do every day, every week. You know, maximize my time, do as much as possible. So whenever I, don't do a lot, or, when I see like big gaps in my schedule or a lot of downtime, I beat myself up over it. I'm like, dude, like what the hell was I doing with all this time? Like, why was I lazing around? Like, why wasn't I making good use of my time? So it was just this like really like vicious cycle that kind of repeated itself, like it was, oh well, I'm not doing much, so therefore I beat myself up over that and I feel shitty about it. And then if that ever happens again, then I'll go through that cycle again and again. And then you add on top of the fact that even if I was very productive, because I am never satisfied with my own results, so it's a lose-lose either way. Like if I do a lot, I'm still dissatisfied. If I almost died there. If I do a lot, I'm dissatisfied. If I don't do a lot, I'm still dissatisfied, plus self-beat up. So it's kind of a losing situation, all because I lack self-compassion and lack being just gentle with myself and acknowledging myself and telling myself it's okay, like whether I do good or do bad. So what I've been trying to do differently for the past couple months now is just really to be mindful of when I'm not compassionate with myself or get into self beat up mode, and also to get into the practice of honoring when I don't feel good, or if I'm just not feeling up to doing productive things, and telling myself that it's okay. Like yesterday, I was planning to like spend half the day working on my business and being productive and all that, and I only ended up spending like less than 2 hours, and the rest of the day, I just like bought groceries and also wasn't feeling too well, but I went home and I was like chilling, just like reorganizing the house. Typically that wouldn't be considered making good use of my time, but that's kind of a perfect example of me practicing self-compassion. I didn't feel like being productive, so therefore I wasn't productive. And instead of going the old route of making myself feel like a piece of shit, I consciously told myself it's okay, like whatever, take a break, it's fine, instead of feeling the typical like guilt tripping myself. So I mean, obviously it's a work in progress. I'm still in the very early stages, but I think like with anything in life, you can know something and think about something like as much as you want on an intellectual level, but really one of the most surefire way to make something become a part of your life is to just practice. Like, I don't think there's any shortcut or any way around it. Like, I need to keep practicing so that it becomes less awkward and more normal, and hopefully come to a point where it becomes so natural for me to just be compassionate towards myself and to honor whatever like I want to do in that moment, instead of guilt tripping myself and beating myself up over something I'm supposed to do. So yeah, so I invite you guys to do the same. Get into the practice. Like if you're ever feeling some sort of guilt for not doing something that you're quote unquote supposed to, tell yourself it's okay. It's not the end of the world, and there's always another opportunity to go at it. Alright, so that's it. I'll see you in the next one.